All right. Let's talk a little bit, if you don't mind, Pete, about sports, because I know the NFL is always something that you focus on. So give us the 411.
Well, the NBA is just kicking off. The NHL is just kicking off. Baseball finally got it all figured out. It's not going to be a Subway Series. It's going to be going back and forth from LA to New York. And, I think all those were fairly obvious. And they've got the big hitters coming, John. They ought to have some really good viewership going after this one, because this is going to be great. I mean, with Ohtani on one side, obviously, and then all the big hitters you've got with the Yankees, it's going to be a really, really fun series. But that's to come. Right now, I think if anybody watched a little bit of NFL over the weekend and a little bit of NFL last night, I've got something for you. Who are the best two teams in all of football right now in your mind? And I'm going to tell you, my mind is this, John. The Baltimore Ravens on the AFC side. I know everybody will say, well, it's Kansas City, Pete. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens, and then I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. And why do I pick those two? Because they've got two coaches, Harbaugh and Campbell, who I think are two of the very best coaches in the NFL right now. And why do I say that? Well, Dan Campbell went out and understands when you've got a quarterback, you still need something other than just a wide receiver, John. You got to have a running back. You and I both played linebacker in the NFL. You were with the Bears. I was with Minnesota and Tampa. When you've got a running game or a threat of a running game, you have a much different defense that's going to have to work against that offense. And let me tell you something. With Gibbs and Montgomery right now, they've got 165 carries, 850 yards. It's about 5.2 yards a carry. Now, if you can get a 2nd and 5 against the defense, you've got them in the right spot. How about Henry, King Henry, Derrick Henry? I think Lamar Jackson should be the happiest guy on planet Earth right now. He doesn't have to put his body in harm's way. He still runs the football, but he doesn't have to. He's got Derrick Henry, and anybody who watched last night's game against Tampa, you just saw the best physical running back I have ever seen. The guy's 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds, 2% body fat, John. Oh, and for the year, he's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. So in other words, if they need it, they can get it using him. And Lamar doesn't have to force it, but it gives him the opportunity to have more time back there, a lot more room to look for his receivers, and he's got some great ones. Minnesota's Bateman is one of his best. I just have to throw that in there. But Lamar is 68% completions. He's got 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And then you look over at the other side, John, Jared Goff. He's got 140 passer rating right now in the last 4 games. 140 passer rating. I'd say the guy, oh, and by the way, against the Vikings, who everybody loves our defense, they did give up a few yards, by the way. I don't understand what everybody else is watching when I see something different. But the guy had 22 of 25, John, for 280 yards, Jared Goff. He had a game where he had a perfect game already this year as well. And he also had a game where I think he was something like 20 of 22. I would say that those guys are reaping all of the goods because of the running game. And everybody else in the NFL still thinks it's a passing league. You got to throw the ball, but you know what? If you run the ball, you can throw the ball. Do you agree?
And you control the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, truly, folks. I mean, part of it is keeping the ball out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick's not having a great year, by the way, this year.
Right.
He's 21st out of the 32 quarterbacks in the league right now, which is pretty bizarre. Yeah. All right, let me ask you this, Pete. The Vikings played them right down to the wire. They're up 29-28. Mm-hmm. And you know who beat them? Well, yeah, Goff put them in position for the field goal. But that field goal kicker, Pete, was basically an indoor kicker. I mean, that guy was playing in the indoor leagues and things like that. He was a bricklayer, I think, before the Lions called him up when their kicker got hurt. Mm-hmm. That other kicker might never come back because this guy can hit from over 60 yards. In fact, he had never missed in a game, Pete. Never missed in a game until a couple of years ago. So this kid is pretty special. I've got a video I'll share with you tomorrow on him, Pete. But what else you got as far as sports?
All right, this one's a little bit quicker. Sorry, I was long-winded on the other one. But college football, NCAA college football is right now, John, so exciting. I can't even believe it. Because of why? I got to give credit. It's the portal. The fact that there's a portal out there. Now, I still don't like the idea that, if the coach is pretty rough on you, you could jump in the portal and you leave a school and you go somewhere else. That part is unfortunate, I think. But when you look around, John, and Alabama has 2 losses, Georgia's got a loss, Texas has a loss, LSU started the season off with a loss, Clemson's got a loss, all the usual suspects, right? They've got a loss. Sooner or later, Oregon's probably going to get a loss. Ohio State's probably going to get a loss. And you know what? We're going to start seeing where everybody is. But the competitive nature of the game right now has put us in a position where it's not just Georgia. It's not just Alabama. It is expanding out there. And, oh, by the way, you do have a guy like, I don't know, BYU, Iowa State. They're both still undefeated, John. Indiana is still undefeated. And with opportunities in front of them, as long as the quarterback can be healthy. And I think he got hurt this last week, but he needs to get healthy quick. But I'll tell you what, John, it's an amazing year, I think, for college football, because when you think Texas is the best team in football, they get beat. When you think it's Georgia, they get beat. When you think it's Alabama or Tennessee or Ole Miss or whoever, it's amazing how much parity has come into college football, which is going to make this whole playoff really, really interesting, because I think everybody was saying, well, 1-loss teams, if you got 2 losses, you're not in there. I'd push on that big time now. If you got 2 losses, you still got a shot. And I think Alabama and Ole Miss and some of those that are on the outside, if they win out, I think that they're going to get in there. But I think the portal, I gotta say, it actually has made college football better.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree, Pete. And it's better for all the athletes, better for volleyball players. How'd you like to be playing behind some just phenom and you couldn't get onto the court? That's a problem. Or couldn't get onto the field in baseball or whatever it might be, field hockey. The fact that you're able to move, now the portal's different for football, I understand, than it is for volleyball and baseball and all that kind of stuff. But basically, the same rules apply. You can just go. And it used to be you had to sit out a year. Now you can just go to some other school and play. And I think that's tremendous for the athletes, because think how many athletes you never got to see, Pete, because they might have been the number 2 quarterback behind just a phenomenal, Heisman Award winner or something like that. I think this is great for sports. I think it's great for college athletes. And I agree with you. I think the portal's a good thing. NIL, I'm still not down with the NIL, the way it's being distributed. But, I'm for all these kids making all they can make. But I'm not really down with how the quarterback might get $2.5 or $3 million like Shedeur and maybe Travis Hunter. And the rest of the guys are just kind of sitting there. Hey, where's mine?
What about me?
Donuts, coupons? What?